Hello and welcome. If you're a language teacher, you already know that getting students to speak confidently is, well, it's one of the biggest challenges we face. So today we're going to dive into how a whole new set of AI tools can become your best new partner in the classroom.
So let's just start with the big one, the question that I think every language teacher has wrestled with. You've got a classroom of 20, maybe 30 students. How in the world can you give each and every one of them enough personalized speaking practice? It feels impossible, right? There are just never enough hours in the day. But what if? What if that whole equation is about to change?
And that really is the core of the challenge, isn't it? Our traditional methods are great, but they always create this bottleneck around the teacher's one-on-one time. Well, this is where AI is stepping in. And it's not here as a replacement, but as a kind of tireless assistant, ready to help you bridge that gap and give every single student a chance to find their voice. I think the best way to think about these tools is to imagine an AI teaching assistant. Seriously, picture a partner who can run pronunciation drills over and over, or engage students in conversation anytime, day or night. This frees you up to focus on the things that, only a human can do, providing that nuanced feedback, diving into cultural context, and offering that crucial emotional support. So first up, let's take a look at what I'm calling the specialists. These are apps that have been built from the ground up to do one thing really, really well. Think of them like expert coaches for very specific speaking skills. Now this chart is great because it kind of lays out the whole landscape for us. You can see right away, there's a tool for just about everything. You've got tools for the absolute mechanics of pronunciation, like Elsa. Then you have your conversation partners like Speak and Laura for building up fluency. And for that extra polish, you've got delivery coaches like Udly. There are even simulators like Small Talk to Me for high-stakes stuff. It's all about picking the right tool for the job at hand.
Let's break these down a little. First, the pronunciation coach. An app like Elsa Speak is a fantastic example. It doesn't just tell a student a word was wrong, it gives them feedback right down to the phoneme level. It shows them exactly which sound they messed up. And because it uses these fun, gamified lessons, it's basically the perfect pronunciation TA that you can just assign for homework.
Okay, next up are the conversation partners. Apps like Speak, Laura, and Gliglish are all about simulating actual open-ended chats. And the cool part is, they don't just fix a student's grammar, they often explain why it was corrected right there in the moment. But their biggest advantage by far is that they create this completely safe, judgment-free space for students to just try.
And this is just so important. For our quieter students, the fear of making a mistake in front of the whole class can be absolutely paralyzing. An AI partner just removes all of that social pressure. It lets them practice, mess up, try again, and build the confidence they desperately need to eventually speak up in class and, out in the real world.
And finally, in our specialist group, we have the delivery coach. So a tool like Udly, it's not really focused on grammar or vocab. Instead, it analyzes how students are speaking. It literally tracks filler words, all the ums and uhs, it monitors their pacing, and it gives them this really objective data that can help more advanced learners totally polish their presentations. All right, so we've covered the specialists. Now let's talk about the generalists. Those super flexible, everyday AI tutors that you and your students are probably already playing around with, like ChatGPT and Gemini. Now, from a teacher's point of view, they each have their own strengths. You can think of ChatGPT as the better actor. It's amazing at fluid, human-like dialogue and role-playing. Gemini's superpower, on the other hand, is that it's multimodal. It can work with images and audio, and its connection to the whole Google ecosystem is a huge practical plus for building classroom activities. And the tech here is getting so good. These new voice modes are a total game changer. I mean, forget those old robotic, flat voices. Today's AI can actually speak with natural pauses, with intonation, even with a bit of emotional tone. It just makes the whole experience feel way more authentic and engaging for students. Okay, so we've seen the tools, we know what they can do, but this leads us to the most important question of all. How do we actually use them in our lesson plans? Let's get practical. Here's a super simple but really powerful 3-step model. First, you use the AI as your brainstorming buddy to come up with scenarios. Second, you have the students actually do the activity, maybe at home or in class. And third, and this is the most critical part, you debrief. You have students share the feedback they got. This turns all that individual practice into a big collective learning moment for everyone. And you can really implement this stuff in 2 main ways.
Asynchronous, so for homework, is perfect for personalized practice, and it's a huge confidence booster for those shy students. But synchronous use, right there in the classroom, is awesome for creating these really cool learning stations, and it lets you do immediate teacher-led reflections on what the AI is telling them.
But does it actually work? I mean, are students motivated to do this? Well, the data is pretty compelling. In one study, they gave students access to an AI speaking app for extra practice. The result? A 150% increase in the number of students who voluntarily practice their speaking. That is a massive jump, and it's simply because the tool was there and it was totally judgment-free.
So as we start to wrap this up, I think it's so important to come back to the main theme here. This is not about AI taking over classrooms, not at all. It's about forming a brand new, powerful partnership. And let's be really clear about who does what in this partnership. The AI is brilliant at handling quantity. The endless drills, the instant feedback, the tireless repetition. That frees up the teacher to provide what the AI can't: high-quality instruction, real emotional support, cultural nuance, and the wisdom to tackle those really complex, deep-seated errors. And that's really the key takeaway from all of this. It's about leveraging the unique strengths of AI. Its patience, its consistency, its 24/7 availability, so that we as human educators can focus on our unique strengths. It really is the best of both worlds. And all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As these AI assistants just become a standard part of every teacher's toolkit, what will the language classroom of the future even look like? How will our jobs evolve? What new possibilities are going to open up? It's a pretty exciting time to be a teacher.